Hello, I'm Citrus, and you're looking at the Action Base 4 and Action Base 5 Clear that Bandai released recently. A big selling point of these guys is that there's no screwdriver necessary for putting them together. But the biggest pull for me is that the small one and the big one use the exact same hexagonal base so that you can tessellate them together. The difference between the 5, which is for 1/144 scale kits, and the 4, which is for 1/100 scale kits, is that the arm is bigger and you get 3 pieces of the base in the big one as opposed to only 1 in the small one. So let's get these opened up. As you can see, the clear plastic is frosted, not clear, so for photography purposes this will probably catch a little bit more. If you're using a dark background or anything like that, there is also a black version of this base that you can get instead. Another huge plus is that there are tons of holes all over the base, one in the middle and around the perimeter. You can also see some smaller 3mm holes here. These are for the smaller arms for holding up flying parts like missiles, effect parts, and funnels and bits. The gates attaching the parts to the sprues are also much smaller than they were on the Action Base 1 and 2, so hopefully you won't see any nasty gouge marks along the base of your base. Okay, now I have 2 pieces here, and let's try connecting them together. Okay, and there they are, holding together pretty solidly. If you twist it, obviously it'll come apart, but this is definitely way more solid than the Action Base 2 connection when they're held together. Let's start with the smaller one first. Okay, so the main arm looks like this. They're symmetric in the top and bottom, and they're held together by a C-clip sort of connection. But it's pretty shallow, so you can pretty easily separate them as you're supposed to. And the way you maintain the angle between them is by using one of these ladder parts in the middle. The whole thing is sort of designed to be held in place by gravity, more or less, but you can see that it kind of grips in there by itself. So this is a long one. This is a longer one, and then there's a short one. And at each end there is a lock on this peg, so as you can see it's in place now. You flip the lock open and then it can rotate, and then once you find the position you like, you can set the lock again and then it won't move anymore. So once you separate these 2 arms, the packaging advertises that you can use other bits that connect to these ends and then use these little ladder bits again so that you can have 2 arms instead of just the 1. When you're using both arms together, the manual recommends using this piece at the base, so you insert the whole arm into the base like so, and the tall bits on the side sort of keep the arm from wobbling left and right to a degree, and then you can stick that into the actual base. And while the arm is connected, changing angles is pretty easy. You can just do that, find the angle you like, and then plug it in. No need to take the arm off or reseat it or anything like that. And same thing with these. I thought they'd be a little bit more finicky, but it's pretty easy to just move it as you like, and then it'll stay there pretty solidly. To use the 2 arms separately, you have this piece for the C-clip end, which goes in like this, and you have this piece for the other end. And then what we can do is stick the arm into one of these pieces, and you can see that the teeth down here kind of line up with the teeth up there. And then you would use one of these ladder pieces, stick it in like that, and this will hold up the arm. To put this into the base, you would use a double-ended connector like this, so one end goes in the middle of it like that, and another one goes into the base like so. Another way is to stick the arm directly into the base, take the tiny piece, put it somewhere away, like let's say there, and then once you have your positions all lined up, you take a ladder piece and you stick one end down there and the other end up here. So now you have 2 arms, and you can adjust them as you like. Another feature of the arms is that they have these 3mm holes along their length. You have 4 down the side on one end, and you have another 4 on the other end. These are really good for sticking in other accessories onto the arm itself, like the little clear rods that you usually get for displaying funnels and stuff. To mount your kits onto the base, you have your usual action-based connectors like the peg, which can just go straight on it, and this is the same size as the connector on the Action Base 2, so all of your real grade adapters that come with the kits will also fit right onto these. You also get these old-fashioned U-shaped connectors for kits that have no connections in the crotch. And to put these on, you need to have this square connector that has to go in there, and then that can go in like that. If you want to change the angle so that the arm isn't directly underneath the kit, you can use this piece, which basically rotates it out 90 degrees so that the arm is sort of going in from the back. Or for just your high grades and stuff, there is this piece which goes out even further so that the legs can move around completely away from the base arm so that there's no interference. Very good feature. There's also this connector, which is a little bit strange. So it's a 3mm hole on the inside, and the idea is that you can stick this into the square connector and then put this on top, so you have a 3mm hole at the top of the base for mounting accessories. But you also get this little cylindrical piece, which you can put on top of the regular peg piece to do basically the same thing. So I guess it's cool that they gave you 2 ways to do it, but it's a little redundant, and I don't know, with this connection you can kind of do crazy things like just build out insanely long connections. But you know what, now that I look at it, that could actually be really useful for some poses. And here's a high grade Gundam and gun cannon to show off 2 kits on the same Action Base 5. There's also a claw grip you can use, although I'm not a huge fan of these because they always feel like they're going to wear out very quickly. This one is pretty stiff for now, but I'm not sure how long it'll last. And you also get this accessory arm, and I don't recommend putting anything heavy on it because there's nothing really locking the 2 ends in place. There aren't any ratchets or anything like that. So if you put anything too heavy on it, it'll probably just fall over. But again, for the time being, it's pretty tight, and that's pretty good. The Action Base 4 is basically the exact same deal, just larger. You can see that the arms are way longer, way thicker, and you can see quite a lot more holes here for you to put accessories on. It has all of the exact same kind of mounts, except you get the U-shaped brackets in 3 widths instead of just 2, the same peg, the right angle connectors and everything like that, and the larger claw grip. And here's the big Action Base 4 arm holding up my metal composite Zeta Plus, kind of precariously with the claw grip in the back. And my only real problem with the Action Base 4 and 5 is that there's a lot of leftover bits, and trying to get your kits set up just right takes a lot of time. The design of the arm isn't terribly intuitive, so you're going to have to spend a lot of time figuring out exactly where every piece should go, and then putting that all together, and then putting your figure on top of the base. But even that aside, it's still a pretty good value. The small one is 500 yen, and the bigger one is 600, so pretty fair compared to previous Action Bases. And as you can see here, these do take up a lot less space, and they are much more adjustable. You can put each joint in much more degrees than you could with previous bases. And because all of these locks are like giant plastic teeth, they won't wear out like the old screw joints over time, where you kind of just can't tighten them anymore. So that's all for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.